Damn, it's weird with no music.
It's weird
now.
without the
All right,
music,
dude.
dude.
Let's just do it. Welcome back to the Big and Juicy Podcast, everybody. Oh, my camera's over here. We have no music anymore because, as you saw right now, we got a new intro, which is about 3 seconds long and just a picture that's like in 4K as fuck. Dope.
And then the show goes to like 1080p real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, and we did all the upgrades we said we were going to do. We got the double camera back. We got more lights. We got 4K cameras. We got better collars. No offense to the collars from season one.
No offense intended. Those collars sucked. We got way better ones, all right? And personal favorite of ours. Thanks, baby. I know you owe me money. Personal favorite of ours, old buddy of ours, old homie of ours, She was like an extra small, huh?
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got with us one of our favorite people from high school. Kevin, what's her name? I forgot her name.
Aimee Contreras.
There it is, baby. Can I use effects?
You can go ahead and do that, yeah.
I was a little late. I'm sorry. You'll hear it in the post. And I never muted her.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. She's on the line with us.
She's on the line anyways.
That's way better.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't saying anything embarrassing.
Oh, I know, right?
No, you're good. You're good.
We just hear some shit on the silence.
I had one job, and it's to roll down the thing to mute you so you wouldn't speak. You definitely could have been like cussing us out or
I heard her
fucking
laughing the whole time. I'm like, I must be crazy.
Oh my god.
I was not laughing.
All
It was
right,
not that funny.
Thanks.
I'm just kidding.
That's great. That's great. Starting off the season a great way. That's not that funny.
I mean, this is the first episode we're recording, by the way, but it won't be the first one we are. That's not to say anything to you. It's just that we can need the intro episode, and then we're going to put this one on.
And then this one, and then that one. When you're in the business of recording shit for Hollywood,
yes.
you know,
Of course.
Stuff is recorded out of order.
You obviously know.
You
about
know.
that.
You've
Right,
been there.
right,
You've been
right.
there. You know.
Right.
What
Of
do we do
course.
here? Yeah.
But
So,
anyways, Aimee.
We got a very serious. Oh, well, first of all, how you been for all the people who listen to this show? How are things?
Me?
Not you, bitch.
Oh.
Damn, I know how you
Well,
are.
that's because we took a break. I thought people might want to know what I've been up to.
Was this technically episode 2? We'll cover that in episode 1.
I lost 1 episode. I lost 1 pound.
Yeah, and then he gained it.
No, I don't. I just lost 1 pound.
You're good?
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Thanks.
Now let's get back to Aimee. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for asking. I'm doing great.
I'm glad.
Awesome.
So you have a story for us, right? Not a story. I'm sorry. More of a past experience that you want to show us. I mean, you want to talk to us about.
And so I'd love to show you it.
You'd love to show it to That would be great if we could
I didn't know this was a show and tell. I should have brought a model.
It would have been a lot better.
Shit, we should have show and tell. Fuck.
That would be great.
All right, we'll cut that out and say that I thought of that. Show and tell. Got it. Please proceed. Let us know what's up.
About what? What's going on?
God damn!
They always do this to us.
They always fuck us
Well,
over, man.
We have today a special guest that we've already mentioned multiple times.
We've done this intro.
Yeah.
And she's going to
We
be
went to
telling
high
us.
school together.
Damn.
So
Exactly.
you're obligated to say that I'm a special guest.
Exactly, especially because she's on the line right now with us.
Special guest, and
Right.
also even more special because she's the first one to actually be like, "Fuck it, say my full name," you know. And at the end of the show, if you stick around, we have her social, we have her address, we have all of that stuff, you know. So
Phone number.
phone
Yeah.
number,
Driver's license.
credit card information, even the security code. But you gotta, it's scattered throughout the episode, so you gotta listen to the whole shit.
That's right.
It is what it is, you know.
My wife would be very upset at me.
No. The platform is yours. We don't wanna interrupt anymore. Please go ahead and continue.
And and you didn't finish that.
Yeah,
Please
I
go
didn't
ahead
finish
and.
it.
Okay.
He's a little nervous.
A little bit.
Yes. Well, my name is Aimee, as was previously mentioned. I went to high school with Ivan and Kevin. I met them. Yeah, I think I met both of you guys in 9th grade.
I
Yeah.
feel like we all did meet in 9th
I
grade.
might have met Ivan in 10th grade because I didn't have any classes with him until then.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
I knew Kevin, yeah.
But she definitely knew me. You
She
know,
met me.
I was the guy to know on
I'm
camera.
the type of person you meet the first
No.
year. You know?
What year was it that you had the cast? That was the year I met you.
Every year.
You had a
Yeah,
cast.
that was freshman year. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, I just got a busted
okay,
knee.
maybe I met you freshman year then.
Yeah, I break my knee at least once every 3 years, and you met me on that year, on that anniversary.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like a little Olympics, but for your legs. Comes
Right.
every 3 years.
Right.
So that's cool. So I met Kevin and Ivan in high school. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness, which is mostly what Ivan reached out to me to talk about. Was about I think I posted something on Twitter, and that sparked a conversation between Ivan and I about religious trauma and things.
Right.
100%.
um, I think during the time that I was friends with you guys, I was very Jehovah's Witness. Do you guys remember me being very religious? I try to remember what I was like in high school, but I can't remember if I was like super in it or if I was like living a double life. Like if I was different in high school than I was like at
You,
church.
in my opinion, were living a double life.
Okay.
Without,
So I was
and
not as
I don't know if
Jehovah's
you were
Witness at
conscious
school.
about it though. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You
But
got-
like I was not a Jehovah's Witness at school is what you're saying.
I think no, I think you were, but
I mean-
sometimes we would see the cracks, you know, and then that's a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
okay, I'll agree with Kevin there. I wouldn't say that you were living a double life. I wouldn't say that in my opinion.
Yeah.
I would say you were pulling it off pretty well. You know, like you were living, breathing it, but you weren't also preaching it either. You weren't like trying to convince people of it, you know. But there was times, like Kevin said, like, you know what, like a crack every now and then of just like, what was that?
Mm.
You know,
Right.
and it was just like, okay, you know, there's something there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna
Yeah.
have a podcast years from now. And we're gonna talk about that. So here we are.
I mean, that's kind of how I felt. I feel like that's very accurate to the experience that I had in high school. I feel like I was very confused about what my identity was because I was such a, like I was mentioning to Kevin and Ivan, is that I'm third generation Jehovah's Witness. So it's like very embedded in my family. I don't think I know much of the family that's not a Jehovah's Witness. So it was like part of my identity. And it was when I was in high school that I started to question what my identity was because I had so many questions and they weren't being answered, you know, things like, why couldn't I be friends with my friends from school? Like, why couldn't I go to parties with them? And like, what makes them bad people? The fact that they are not the same religion as me, like that didn't make sense to me.
Mm.
And that's kind of when I started feeling this deeper need to figure out who I was apart from the religion. I think that's what I would say got me in trouble the most in high school. Because I had a lot of questions and I was relentless about them. And I'm very thankful for them because that's what led me to finally leave the religion.
Right.
I also was like, obviously questioning my sexual identity. I was thinking about this the other day, but I had a friend in elementary school who, it was like this thing, it was like Prop 8, it was like something that was like, we were in 6th grade and they were like trying to pass a law. It was like Proposition 8. It was like a big thing.
Right. I remember it was for same-sex marriage, right?
Yes.
I do remember that, yeah.
They were like passing around these pins at school and there was this girl and she had written Prop 8 on her hand. And to think about this is so silly to me because I think at that time I already knew that I sort of liked women, that I liked girls, I had a crush on girls, but the religion was so embedded in me that I remember I brought my Bible to school in 6th grade. I literally brought my Bible to school and I read her the part in the Bible where it said that like a woman and a man are to be married, not a woman and a woman, not a man and a man, but like a woman and a man. And like, that's how crazy this had like taken over me.
Even though you had already felt that you were attracted to other women, you kind of, I guess, like you subconsciously kind of like try to fight that with your Bible, bringing it to school, I guess, without knowing.
Yeah, and I think that even if I did know, and even once I already knew, like for sure that I said it out loud to my parents and everything, I always thought of it as like a flaw, as like an imperfection of being a human, because that's the way it was described to me. I felt like it was part of just being human. Like, you know, you make mistakes, and that was one of the mistakes that for some reason I continue to make, having crush on girls, like, and I had to control it. And it wasn't until like probably after high school, and also in between then, you have to understand that like I don't have anyone else to talk to other than like the people in my religion, right? Because like my whole life is being a Jehovah's Witness. All my friends are Jehovah's Witnesses. And as much as I was friends with you guys in high school, I can't say that I was extremely social with you guys. I don't remember going to parties with you guys. I never went to your guys' houses, I don't think.
Right.
I never met your parents. I never really interacted with you guys outside of school. And that goes for every single person that I was friends with in school. I think with the exception of maybe like 2 people, throughout my entire education career, I didn't really have a relationship with you guys. Not really, not a real relationship.
Right.
I wouldn't say.
Nothing past school grounds, pretty much at that point.
Yeah, nothing past fucking 8 a.m. to 2:30 and shit. Like that was it. Like our friendship's done, baby.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. Yeah. As soon as school was over, I was gone, and I think that was very apparent, and that was very, like, that was made very clear. at least for me, when I felt it was funny because now thinking about it, I was so connected to you guys, like everyone, and I don't want to say names because
Of
whatever,
course.
it's their
Yeah,
privacy, but
right. Yeah.
like everyone in our group of friends, like I was so connected to you guys. I remember having so much fun with you guys at school, and then going home and being so miserable and feeling like, why do I feel like I can be myself so well at school and have fun and laugh? Cautiously, I think I was still being cautious, but like, why is it that I can feel feel like who I am when I'm at school, and then when I go home, I'm so depressed and so sad and lonely, and I feel like no one understands me. And obviously, this took a long, long time for me to look back and be like, oh, this is why I felt those things. But I feel really sad for myself, for like little baby Aimee that
Yeah.
felt so like alienated and so like lonely, I think, outside of who I met at school.
Yeah. No, of course, because
And
that sounds like a lot of stress. Being able to practically roam freely as who you really are for about 7 hours a day, and then
Right.
you get home and it comes crashing down to reality, right?
You know, it's weird because
Yeah.
usually people, they'll live the double life, like in their home, they're really who they are.
Mm.
You know, they'll be like, I'm really
Right.
like,
That's true.
I'm really like
Yeah.
the dirty person or the
Yeah.
annoying person. I'm really like the asshole or whatever.
Yeah.
When you get to your house, you're like who you really are
Yeah.
in real life. But when you go outside to the world, you present as like, no, I'm perfect. I'm this, I'm
Mhm.
that. But you had that backwards. You know, that must have really sucked, to be honest, because like your home, at least for me growing up, my home was the place where you should definitely be the most comfortable place in, you know,
Right.
and everywhere else it should be like, damn, like I got to present this perfect person. But that role was
Yes.
reversed for you, which honestly sounds like really tough to live by, especially from such a young age.
Yeah, and it's like a fucked up message of like you can't be yourself in the place where you want to be yourself the most,
Yeah.
with your mom and your dad
Yeah.
and your family and like the people that you feel the most connected to. And I think that was like the most fucked up part for me, is because I remember feeling like there was so much that I gave up of myself when I wasn't who I wanted to be, like when I wasn't genuinely myself. And that was reflected in my relationships in high school, because I remember feeling so alienated towards the end of high school. And I think that's when I was like my sickest, was like the senior year of high school. I remember just reflecting this like self-sabotaging feeling of like, I'm no longer going to be able to socialize with these people because we're graduating this year. And like, let's be honest, I'm not going to have a good enough excuse to hang out with them. Right. Because I don't have school as an excuse anymore. And so part of me just started ripping away at all my relationships and being like, you're like, I don't want to lose you. So I'm just going to just alienate you for a really long time and just like push you away so that when we
Right.
graduate, it's not as
It's easier.
painful.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I met my wife, and my wife she's still friends with a couple of her high school classmates, that I was like, wow, I don't have that, you know, not reality, not like I've had lunch with a couple of my classmates and things like
Mhm.
that, but like I don't have that. And I think I did that on purpose, obviously. And I know that now, but like in the moment I didn't know I was doing it, of like, I really don't want to go through the pain of having to like say bye to everyone. So I'm just going to like pretend this whole era of my life didn't exist,
Right.
and I'm going to go full force into the religion. And then I went full force into the religion. As soon as I graduated
Wow.
high school, I was like committed.
Damn.
And that was a really hard time for me as well.
Can I ask why you think you were so committed after high school? Was it just your way of trying to just fully alienate yourself, like you said previously?
I think it was inevitable at that point, because I no longer had school. I no longer had another place to be myself. It was just, I was home all the time.
Mhm.
I got my first like big girl job, and I started school, and I got really immersed in that life of mine. And that, unfortunately, at the time included a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses at work and at school. So I wasn't able to like live that, like, I guess, double life, now that I know that I was living it. But I wasn't able to live that double life anymore. I wasn't able to like be myself at school, because at school I had Jehovah's Witnesses, at work I had Jehovah's Witnesses, in my life I had Jehovah's Witnesses. And
It seems like you're just surrounded by, I don't want to put down any religion, but it seems very like a lot of pressure growing up,
100%.
especially if you're curious, right? And you have different questions about certain things, like you did, where it's like, why can't I hang out with my friends, and why can't I go out to this certain place? It really seems like I I don't like, again, I don't want to say anything bad, but it seems like they almost know that, you know, some people aren't really built for that life. You know what I mean? And they
100%,
want
I
to
would
try their
call it.
hardest to, you know, convince you to stay and try harder to be, quote unquote, better in their eyes, right?
Yes, and that's why I was going to say I would 100% call it a cult, like a doomsday cult, if any of that, like
Right.
of just like that brainwashing part of it, and the whole like control aspect of like your entire life is submersed in this religion, like your social life, your familial life, your emotional life, your financial life in many aspects
Right.
is
Because there are
the
donations
religion.
as well, right? That I'm not sure how
Yeah.
it is with Jehovah's
Yeah,
Witness.
and a lot of people are supported by the organization financially for doing the services that they do in the church, and that's hard too. Like you lose a job, you don't, you know, you grow up without making education a priority. A lot of us don't even graduate high school. Most of us get homeschooled and then just get a GED when we turn 16. So a lot of us don't even have a high school diploma. Most, like maybe like 1% have more than a bachelor's degree. I don't think I knew many people with a bachelor's or a graduate's degree. Education is not something that is important. So, and that's 100% on purpose, right? Like they don't want to educate their people.
Yeah,
they don't want to
really,
send them out to
college. It's a form of
college.
suppression, honestly.
Yeah, it makes it seem like they want to build you so that you only rely on them. Like you said, like you lose a job, you don't. They make you so that you don't have education. It makes it seem like without us, you really are nothing. Like not even in the spirituality world, just in the real world. Like you don't have, you're not educated. You don't have a job. You don't have coworkers. You don't have anybody who can.
But you have religion.
Yeah, but it's like you don't have anybody who can refer you. You know, because sometimes like you're like, hey, I need a referral, I need a letter of recommendation, but you never made that relationship because you never went out, you never socialized, you never did this, you never did that. Like they really just kept a tight circle and stuff. But if you happen to know, I don't know if this is like a dumb question or not, but like what is the point of that?
Excuse me, can you repeat that last part?
What is the point of keeping it so tight and keeping it so like you do not need education, like we'll pay you, we'll do this, we'll like what is?
I think it's like, I'm pretty sure, I don't know the exact numbers. I'm not going to give you the exact numbers, but Jehovah's Witnesses are very rich. I don't know their net worth off the top of my head, but I've heard very huge numbers. Like the organization as a whole is extremely wealthy, and that's because internal donations are heavily pushed. And that's honestly the way that most of the upper ups of the religion live. It's called the governing body. I think there's 12 of them right now. There might be 11, but they all live in New York, and there's these 12 men that just consistently make new rules and make the decisions for the rest of the people around the world, the rest of the Jehovah's Witnesses around the world. Wow. I don't know how these 12 people are chosen, or not people, they're all men, none of them are women. They're all men. Yeah. I don't know how these 12 men are chosen, but these 12 men are completely funded 100% down to the toothpaste that they buy by the Jehovah's Witnesses around the world. And they don't live frugally. Like they have a very wonderful life. They have an amazing like home in New York. Same thing with a lot of like the people under them that live in Bethel, New York, and everyone else around the country that they send to do missionary work and things like that. So financially, they are very, like, it's because of the community that they can live the way that they live, obviously. And all like the brainwashing and everything, it's a sense of control. They don't want you to get an education so that you don't make decisions for yourself and that you don't make money for yourself, and you're consistently dependent on the community. They don't let you socialize with anyone outside of the community so that you're consistently dependent on the community. It's really just a way to like keep people in line and in check and consistently giving money to the organization, or else they'd be poor. If they let people just like go out and go to college, I'm sure they would lose followers so quickly.
Because college is the place where you get quote unquote enlightened, right? And you get to meet even more diverse people with different points of view. Make your own decisions.
Yes.
Yeah. So essentially, like Jehovah's Witness is a business, in a way, right? I guess.
Yes.
The way that you explained it to me, it seems more like it's about making people drones and making sure that they don't ask questions or question things.
Yeah, and everyone's so controlled to the point where if you would have asked me about my religion on like a public platform like this, maybe like 6 months ago, I would have probably hesitated to speak negatively about the religion because I still felt an amount of respect towards it. I felt like growing up, we learned a lot about something called apostates, like these people that would leave the religion and then speak negatively of them, of Jehovah's Witnesses that they left. And I remember like reading about them and learning about apostates and how evil they are and how they're used by Satan to like poison our minds about their religion and how we shouldn't even look at them. We shouldn't even give them like the time of day. And so I remember feeling like if I spoke negatively about the religion, I would be an apostate. And that felt so disgusting to me to be. And then I was like, what the, like, this is how disgustingly controlled I am right now.
That's how
that
deep the
I have left 3 fucking years ago. And I'm still sitting here going, oh my God, I don't want to be an apostate and speak negatively of the religion. I literally almost slapped myself because I was like, what the fuck, Aimee? What is wrong with you?
right.
But it's just a mere shadow of the tiny ways that you are going to be controlled for the rest of your life when you grow up in a circumstance the way that I did. It's just like, this is just going to be my brain forever. Like, I'm always going to feel just a little bit guilty, a little bit self-conscious. I hope that's not true. I hope that isn't true, but I feel like it's just going to always be there, and it sucks to feel that way, but I'm working on it not feeling that way. No, it's not easy.
It makes sense. I think it's something that you can get rid of, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication to consistently, you know, realize, hey, I don't have to worry about this. It's kind of like, let's say somebody has anxiety, right? You don't really ever get rid of it. You learn to live with it, right?
Right.
And you learn to realize that, hey, it's going to happen. It's going to pass, right? For you, it'll be different, right? Because it's like, you'll realize, oh shit, like, why am I feeling guilty about this? I shouldn't. And then you work at feeling better about not feeling guilty about it, which is hard. It seems easy, right, when you say it, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing.
It's difficult to manage, I think, and I think that's why I was like, I don't hesitate to do things like this, because I don't think I really met anyone that had gone through what I'm going through now before I left. And it would have been very helpful for me to have someone that was like, it's going to be okay. Because genuinely, I have several family members that are also kicked out of the religion for other reasons. Reasons like what you would call like fornication, which means like premarital sex, drugs, like if they like smoked marijuana, they got kicked out, whatever, like for different reasons. I'm the only one that has been kicked out for being gay. And I can definitely say that I'm the only one that isn't spoken to by my family. The rest of my family speaks to every other person that's been kicked out of the religion for other reasons. So it's definitely different. It's definitely different. I know other people have tried to relate to my experience that I've left the religion, and they're like, it's not that bad. Like, my mom still talks to me, like she still understands, like, and I'm like, no, just because you had that experience doesn't mean it's experience for every single person. The fact of the matter is that I'm a female and that I'm gay, and those two things combined make it even harder. Like all the men in my family that have been kicked out, they have relationships with the rest of my family. My mom, my dad, I've seen them like in videos together and pictures together very recently. And that feeling of like, my mom and my dad can't even look at me without feeling disgusted. I'm sure they physically gag when they see pictures of me. And it hurts me because I'm like, you can be with other people that are also kicked out for various reasons, but you physically can't be with your daughter because she's gay. Like, how the hell does that make me a worse person because I like women versus this person that's like had sex with their girlfriend because they have hormones and it's like a normal thing to do before marriage, you know? But it's ridiculous. It's crazy. I wish that there was more information about this kind of stuff, because I feel a lot of people come in contact with religions such as these and they find solace in them because in that moment, that's what they needed, a community to take them in and take care of them. But then they get trapped in this system of like control, and then they can't get out. And it sucks to see this happen time and time and again. And I know that that's what happened, like with my two grandmas that became Jehovah's Witnesses when they were younger, of like, they were in really abusive marriages. They had a lot of kids that they didn't know how to take care of. And then this person comes to your door and starts talking to you about the Bible and how God's going to make everything better for you. Of course, you're going to want to be part of that. And it's not until you're really deep in it that you realize, like, oh crap, this is legitimately a cult. Like, I'm literally trapped in a cult, and now I can't get out without losing my entire family system, and it sucks.
I want to go real quick back to when you said about the part of you coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you feel comfortable talking about that moment of when you spoke to your parents about that and how that went. And how, I don't know if it was like a shocker, was it an argument, was it, you know, I'm assuming it, like the way you described it, the after effects, I'm assuming it must have been an insanely huge deal.
Well, she said they read her Bible verses, remember?
Yeah, I came out to my parents, and I wanted to be honest. It came from a very like, I no longer want to live with the secret anymore, and I was like very accepting at that moment of like anything can happen at this point. I'm gonna lay it on the table.
Yeah.
And of course, my parents were as loving as they could be, and as understanding as they could be. But in ways, the only way that they could be understanding, which was to bring the Bible into it and to try to find an explanation for why I was like broken the way that I was. And they started reading me Bible verses about just the way that God views things, and how like he made us perfectly, you know, but now we're imperfect and we have to work really hard to be at his image. And specifically, I remember like very clearly my dad saying, you know, the same way that like a murderer resist the urge to kill someone, you as a person that likes women has to resist the urge to be with a woman sexually. And I like that hit me so hard on my chest, because I remember feeling like just emotional in that moment of like, it just felt like I'm such a horrible person.
That's
like,
a fucked up thing to say to any
things.
like high school kid, you know? Honestly, you already have so much confusion within you, and then I mean, it sucks, honestly. It pisses me off a little bit, but I'm happy that it seems like you've definitely found yourself, and it seems like obviously like everybody else, you're still working on it, right? But I'm glad that you're able to feel like you can be yourself now.
Yeah, I think this is the first year that I've been a lot more self-aware of those things, and I think because I was like trying to push it away for so long, I think it was even more damaging to me. And now I'm just like more accepting of it, and I let the emotions come when they come. Obviously, like it's gonna suck, and it still sucks, and it'll continue to suck for a while, I'm sure. But I'm really excited to just like start this like new life, a new version of myself,
new chapter.
Yeah, and a big part of me, I always tell this story to people that I meet that are like in really tough times. I try to make it as comical as I can. It's actually horribly sad, but it's funny to look. It's funny to look back at it, because the last time I was completely suicidal when I was initially trying to leave the religion. I didn't see a way out. I thought either I kill myself or I just do Jehovah's Witness 100%. Like there was no, I didn't imagine myself in the place that I am now, right? So I attempted, my last suicide attempt was back in 2017 in January. Sure. And I literally, it's comical to think about, but I tried to commit suicide, was hospitalized, obviously put on a 5150, and they took me to the psych ward. And in the psych ward, I woke up the next morning to see Donald Trump being inaugurated into presidency. And I remember thinking, what the fuck am I doing with myself? Like, this cannot be the world. Like, the world is literally in chaos. And I'm sitting here debating whether or not I want to stay in a religion. And that was literally the moment. And I hate Donald Trump so fucking much, but I thank him for that moment of clarity of like, there are bigger things that I need to concentrate in this world, and none of it involves whether or not God thinks it's okay for me.
It made you want to fight, right? Kind of like, it made you want to speak up and made you want to like say your piece as well.
Well, lucky for you, we actually have Donald Trump on the line, so you can thank him, you know?
To tell about his feelings.
You can tell him all about it, because he feels sad too that he lost that second election. You know, he probably wanted to take himself out too and shit. So.
No, that was. I hate him, but I thank him for that.
You hate him, but you thank him. That's fucking crazy. I didn't know that. Honestly, I don't know what you say to somebody who's survived a suicide attempt, or what would be the right, you know, the correct phrase for that. You know, I mean, I'm glad I'm just glad it didn't work. You know.
Right.
I'm glad you realize that there's something else more, you know, because that must fucking suck. You know, I remember going through, I wouldn't say depression, because I feel like I wasn't that sad, you know, because I know there's people out there who actually live with anxiety and depression and real issues, you know, and I've had my, family drama and family moments where I felt sad, but I'm like, damn, like taking it, to that extent, I can't imagine the urge you must feel to like really need an escape. That's like on a whole another level.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon. My story is not different than a lot of people that I've met in similar situations in the LGBTQ community. It's all spectrums. It's not uncommon to hear that from a lot of people that have struggled through either religious trauma and then, coming out as gay, bi, whatever, that feeling of like, I rather kill myself. And that's what I think like the core issue is. Like, what part of us is so miserable with loving the same sex that we feel like we need to kill ourselves because of it? Like, that's...
Do you watch The Bachelor?
I don't.
What?
Yeah, I have to be the only girl, I think, in this entire universe that doesn't watch that.
God, I was gonna say, like, you had the exact same thing that Colton, a previous member, was going through. Like, he was the Bachelor. He did a whole season. He was a virgin. Like,
he was a virgin.
I actually heard about him. He was the gay guy, right?
Yeah, he came out as gay, and he came out and he said the same thing. Like, he was like, I'm a Christian. We're born not to be gay, this and that. And it's almost like the same thing, Like, that's what it's gonna be like. You're kind of like Colton. And now he's just happy, gay, and he's just free to be whoever he wants to be. But like, yeah, you should watch that. Not this season. Don't watch this season. It's horrible. Watch the previous seasons.
Well, it's not like, and you have to remember too, like, to keep a realistic idea of what post being yourself looks like. It's not rainbows and sunshine and butterflies and everyone's like hugging you and accepting you and being like, oh, I'm so glad you came out. That's not the reality. You're going to hit a couple doors and a couple walls. And I still do all the time. Like, literally the day before I got married, a couple days before I got married, I had to dye my hair because it was looking ratchet. And I went to get my hair done for my wedding. And I was really excited because obviously I'm getting married. You're a bride once in your life, hopefully once in my life. And I showed up to get my hair done. And I don't know how it was that we landed on this conversation of school. And that I, say that my parents raised me Jehovah's Witness, and she goes, oh, I'm Jehovah's Witness too. And immediately that feeling of like, I'm this bride that's so excited about talking about her future wife, about her wedding that's coming up in a couple days. Now I have to shut the fuck up and wait until this lady finishes my hair. And
you don't want her to fuck it up.
Before she fucking bleaches the shit.
She has scissors next to my ear.
Yeah.
I can't tell her I'm gay. Yeah. So I have to wait until she's fully done, and I get to go to my car and literally have a meltdown in my car, just like cry because I have all these feelings of like, I don't get to be like just like a typical bride that comes in and like gets her hair done and has like a really nice experience. It becomes this like whole thing where I have to just like, she keeps asking me why I'm getting my hair done. I keep saying I'm going to someone's wedding, and then she has like, whose wedding? And I'm like, my friend's wedding. And I have to come up with all these stupid lies. It sucks. It actually sucks. And then that's not to discourage anyone from coming out.
No,
I know that sounded super negative of me.
Make sure we shout out that salon too at the end of the show.
I mean, me and Ivan will never know, right? Because we're not gay, but literally,
for each other,
we're gay for each other.
We talked about it the other day. If we could have sex, me and him in the backseat of a car. And it's not possible.
It couldn't
happen. When you
right?
have a guy and a girl, the girl is smaller for the most part, but like me and Kevin we're big dudes, and we're gonna fuck up that suspension. And I know Kevin is a type. Okay, you're gay. Let's ask this. We have a gay person on the line. Between me and Kevin, who's the top? Who's the bottom?
Kevin's top for sure.
What?
So fast. Thank you, Aimee.
Oh my God.
I felt it as soon as you started asking the question. I knew what you were gonna ask.
I didn't know where it was going.
God damn it. Why is that?
It doesn't matter.
These are your high school selves that I remember you, but I feel like Kevin is top energy. I'm sorry, Ivan.
I'm bottom energy?
Hey,
you're bottom energy, bro.
You couldn't handle this ass.
You're easy on the eyes, baby.
I'm easy on the ass, baby.
So you bottom,
You
baby.
couldn't handle this ass, baby. I would rock his world. Anyways, back to what's really important. What were we talking about?
Look,
Tops and bottoms.
Back to like a serious note. Seriously, hearing all this makes me think back to high school and how there's so many things like this going on, and you don't pick up on it, on your friends, going through tough struggles. We're over here thinking, everybody's thinking they're going through the worst shit, right? Which, could be true.
And they probably are.
Yeah. But it also sucks knowing that, like, damn, like my friend also went through something similar. My friend went through something so horrible,
Yeah.
And there's nothing we could have done in the moment because we didn't even realize it. So
I mean,
Right.
I used to always think when I had an issue, I was just like, somebody has it worse. Somebody probably has it worse.
Right.
You know, so why am I like bitchy about it? Why am I this?
Right.
Somebody probably has it way worse. You know, and honestly, comparing my high school
Can I have
problems.
my wallet back?
Yeah, sorry about that. baby.
Or you
Comparing
take it home.
comparing my high school problems to your high school problems, you know, obviously I would rather choose my own, you know, and who knows, you know, there's probably somebody who was struggling way harder, but I guess that just definitely means to look out for your friends a little bit more, or just try to feel more comfortable, or try to ask questions, you know.
Yeah.
I guess nowadays everybody's always being like, yo, make sure everybody's cool, ask questions, and like
Yeah.
I make
Right.
fun of it, but like honestly, like yeah, they're there for a reason, and they weren't there for us, you know, like messages like that wasn't around when we were in school. You know, so
Right.
it's pretty good that like now, especially people are being looked after that, and like what Kevin was saying in the beginning about putting yourself first, you know, and because all of us grew up in Latino communities, and we always grow up to find out, you know, to help other people out, or to do this or do that, but never to check up on ourselves, you know.
Yes.
So always,
Yeah,
It's
there's
almost
a
like
lot
it-
more
yeah.
education on it now. A lot more education.
Right.
It's the kids are getting a lot more valuable information about like regulating their emotions and meditating and
Right.
you know,
Yoga.
therapy. It's like such a
Mhm.
non-stigmatized thing. At least in LA, I feel like in the LA area, I say you know, I'm going to therapy later. You know, like it's such a normal thing. It's like I'm gonna grab a coffee.
It is true. She's right.
It happens all the time. Like, oh, can you meet up on Wednesday? Oh, I have therapy at 5, but like I'll meet you at 7. You know, like that's just it's such a normal and
I have therapy at 5, but I'll meet you
unstigmatized
at
I
7.
gotta go pick up
yeah,
my
I'll meet you
prescription.
for drinks at 7 to process. Yeah.
No,
And
yeah.
It's such it's such a normal thing now, and I am very appreciative of that. And I'm thankful that I'm still like at such a young age, and I'm able to like speak so freely about things like that, you know, and I joke about stuff, and I joke about, you know, my past, but I'm also just so grateful that I'm able to like share what I've been through in such a honest way without feeling like I'm being judged, you know, like I don't
Yeah.
feel like anyone's like, oh my God, she's crazy because she spent a couple days in a psych ward, you know, and it was
Couple days on the
different.
psych ward,
Yeah,
baby.
man.
A couple
That's
days.
character development.
That's
right
a
there.
Tuesday. That's a Tuesday evening for Kevin and I. You know, so it is what it is.
No, but
You know, doesn't everyone just spend a couple days in a psych ward every now and then? I mean, why don't we?
You know,
great.
Or
Free food.
outpatient care. You know, that's another thing that helps. out.
Outpatient
That actually,
procedures.
It
you know?
does help out sometimes. You know,
It does.
you get to go home.
100%.
You feel yourself, and then you go to a group, and then they talk about, you know, how
Right.
hard it is to be by yourself when you're at home, because
Yeah.
sometimes it is. So things like that help out. And there's no negative point of view to it in my eyes, honestly. I think it like I said, character development. It was a joke, but it is. It helps you get to know yourself, and maybe make you feel a bit better about yourself if you get
Yeah.
the right, you know, help.
Yeah, I wish I could go back in time and tell myself that it was okay to talk about stuff like that. And that's something that I think about all the time. I don't know if Evan feels comfortable about talking about this, but like I remember he stopped talking to me my senior year of high school because I went to treatment and I didn't tell him
Ooh.
that I had gone to treatment. And I wish that I could have been open with you guys and like just straight up told you like, fuck, I'm
Right.
sick, I'm anorexic, and I need to go get help, and not just have disappeared from school the way that I did.
Yeah, that was.
But-
I do remember that.
I remember that was like it just randomly just a week, 2 weeks, and I was like, damn, like where's she at?
I
And
do
then-
remember that you and me had like
First of all, I was gone for 3 months.
No.
okay?
I meant like
Two weeks.
one. I meant like 1 week, 2 week went by, and I was like, she's still not here. And then
Right.
the rumors started coming around, and it got fucked up, but it was funny, you know. And then you know,
it was fun.
It was
This guy.
when you're in high school and you hear that somebody's
Things are
not
funny.
there, and then they start
Like-
saying like, yeah, she got hit by a bug,
like
you
me,
know?
like me with my haircut.
Yeah,
Like that you told everybody I didn't show up to school for a haircut, but really I was just shitting my pants at home. And then I get home, I get to school and everybody's like, "Are you scared of your haircut?" I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah,
it was this
I
fucking
wasn't
guy."
spreading the rumors. I was just listening to them. You know, I put my ear to the
Right.
streets, and that's what they
You
was.
were-
That's what the streets was talking, baby.
You were
That's
making out words into
that's what I
people's
heard.
heads, bro.
I was missing y'all. That's why I was like, "Where's everybody at?"
Kevin hates himself. Don't tell him when he gets back first. Hey, I heard you hate yourself,
I heard
bitch.
you hate yourself.
Fucking shit.
Shit.
And I'm grateful, Aimee, that you survived all that, because that's really what you did, is survive it.
Yeah.
It's like I was having shit that I was crying about, and honestly, it was just me watching too many independent movies in middle school and thinking I had issues, you know, and it
No,
was
I
bad,
don't-
you know.
I don't want you to I don't want anyone to think that their story is invalid, because I always say like everyone's experience is hard for them. You
Mhm.
know, like two people, I think about my little brother, and I give him a lot of grace because he's with my parents right now by himself without me. And I think of like when he's older, I hope he comes to me, right? I hope he leaves the religion. I hope he like comes to me eventually. But if he doesn't, I would never want to judge that experience of like, we grew up with the same parents and we ended up with different outcomes. And that's just what happens in life. You know, like sometimes you have the same exact childhood and you end up with two different outcomes. And that's just what it is. And so in high school, you could think like, obviously we all thought our lives were so hard in high school. I don't know what it is about being a teenager, but hormones or whatever make you feel like you're miserable all the time.
Right.
And that's a valid thing, whether or not you didn't have to go to treatment for an eating disorder to, you know, validly have a hard time in high school. Like everyone had their own hard time in high school.
Yeah. And to everybody, like their own problems felt like climbing a mountain, you know, no matter how big or small, like everybody just tackled it like way differently. You know, it's not till like we really start, you know, everybody starts starting podcasts and shit and interviewing people where you find out that like, holy fuck, like that was really more Mount Rushmore and mine was just like a little hill. Like I shouldn't be complaining. So definitely, I mean, I would also say just be grateful for what you do have. And the support that you have that others people are lacking, you know, because I'm sure you would have, you know, again, I'm not trying to judge your parents, but I'm assuming things would have been way easier. And if they would have understood maybe a little bit more and everybody thought different, you know, in a perfect world, you know, this would have all gone completely different and it didn't, you know, and you struggled with the things that you did and you're still struggling with them and you're going to continue to struggle with them, you know, but I mean, maybe just, it's a good way to look at it that maybe you're one of the founders or one of the people that break out and have somebody to run to, you know, like your brother, you know, like your brother has somebody because you did it. You know, if the case happened where he was like, you know what, like I'm not feeling this or I have questions or I have doubts, like you understand like both sides of the coin to tell him like, you know what, like I'm here for you if you need me. I'm not going to talk shit about you. I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to judge you. Like I'm here as a resource. And it's great, you know, for him to be able to run to a sister who has pretty much had that, you know, having her like first come, it's amazing, you know, because like he would have been going through the same steps that you did, like blindly, but now he has somebody to guide him, and that's the best part about it. You know, you're suffering for two people when you think about it. You know, for the possibility of your brother, you know, you know, you got to tell him, you know, and you're there for him, and that's what's great. The fact that you understand that and you don't judge him, if and when he ever decided to come, like, you know what, if you want to do you and continue the lifestyle. It's you, baby. It's all you, you know, like I'm here for you. I'm rooting for you in the background. I'm here for you wherever you need. But if you ever want to come on this side, you know, because I know you be drinking. I've seen them drinks and shit. They look good. You know, if like, you ever want to come over here.
I do like tequila.
Yeah. You know, like you ever want to come over here and, you know, drink something, like I'm here for you, you know, and I feel like that's ultimately the best part about this. You know, the fact that you have somebody at the end of the day, he has that support that you didn't, unfortunately. But you got to think about the people and what you're, you know, what you're breaking open for, you know, it's all worth it. I feel like at the end of the day, it's worth it.
Oh, 100%. I wouldn't trade my experience for the entire world. I think, you know, I have this conversation a lot with my mother-in-law about how, like, even though my parents, I'm mad at them, the experiences that they provided me with have made me who I am. And I'm pretty happy with who I am. So, I mean, they didn't do a horrible job. You know, like I have to give them some credit. They taught me manners and things. And I still had some really good experiences too. And so I'm grateful for those things. I'm grateful for the memories that I continue to have. I'm grateful for having connections such as you guys. Like I know we haven't spoken in literally forever, but just like feeling like, I mean, this is the first phone call we've had in 7 years, I think.
Yeah,
and just being able to just start talking and conversating like no time has ever passed.
So you guys know 100%. This is the first time we speak in 7 years.
7 years.
It feels like we haven't stopped talking.
Yeah.
Shit's going smoothly to me. I fucking miss the shit out of you even more now.
It seems dope. I want to go back to class now.
It's crazy to have friendships like that. Yeah, let's go to Madano's class. That was the best time ever. We just joked the entire time. It was so fun.
Well, listen, Aimee, we're coming up on our time limit here. So if you could leave the people with like some advice, you know, one piece of advice or two that you think are very crucial for the situations that you've gone through and so many people are going through right now but don't say anything, what would that be?
Or if you have your own bakery business, you want to shout out. You
that
know,
too. And also,
because everybody's baking shit nowadays, you know?
If you do have a kitty that you would like me to kitty sit, I would love to take care of them.
Oh, cool.
I can't get my own new cat because my cat would destroy them. But if you would like to take care of your cat, I can. But no, I have to say that it doesn't. I don't want to say like the whole like it gets better because it might not. But
Sorry, oh my bad. Let's cut it. My fault. My fault. All right.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel very morbid about this because I don't want to say like it gets better because I don't necessarily think that's true. I think you learn how to manage things a lot better, and it's really incredible to see yourself managing something that 3 years ago you thought you could never ever handle. And so just continuing to surprise yourself is really important for me. And I think it's important for like everyone that's going through something like this, like setting little tiny goals and achieving them is better than anything else.
Yeah. You hear that, Kevin?
Yes, I do.
You hear that, baby? Basically, what you're saying to everybody is love yourself, put yourself first. And sometimes, it might not get better, but deal with it, because it might. But it might not, because
I know that sounds so negative.
It sounds fucked up. It's not. No, but it's true though. It's true though. Honestly, it sucks for the people who like. Honestly, it might never get better.
It's 2021. We don't want positive, advice. We want real advice.
Yeah, I mean,
no matter
at this
how
point,
hard it is to hear.
At this
sometimes it's like, hey, you gotta cut your hair, bro. Or hey, you gotta, take care of yourself. You gotta forget about them. Sometimes it's advice that sucks, but it's the truth.
Yeah, I didn't mean to be a bummer.
No, I'm just kidding. I didn't mean it I didn't mean like it sucks. I meant like it's the truth. You know what I mean? And sometimes the truth currently seems like it sucks, but it doesn't suck. It's just the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just placed in that connotation because of the way society deems it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna wrap it up now, Aimee. Thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Honestly,
your experiences.
Thank you for actually using your real name and your social and all that. I mean,
that
was amazing.
My social is 71. I'm just kidding.
Damn. we got the first two numbers, 71.
And if anything, you could even tell your wife to come on the show sometime. We'd love to get to know her as well. Or fuck the show. We can even just hang out. We'd love to get to know you guys.
Yeah, let's get some wings.
It'd be out. Fuck yeah, let's get some wings.
That'll be dope. But yeah, honestly, if she ever wants to speak on her behalf, on her experience, on how she was dealing with your crazy ass, and this stuff and all that, we want to get the other side of the coin too, because you could have been lying. She probably come out here like, hey, Aimee, she's lying, dog. She was crazy. She used to beat me, and stuff like that.
Right.
No, more than welcome. Honestly, we would like to have the both of you or just her, or anybody that you feel like needs to be heard. We would love to have them on the show, and direct them to this side of the podcast,
Okay.
Or if you have a Jehovah's email list, like a mean ass one that we can spend our podcast to, we would love to get plays. That'd be amazing too.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
But thank you, honestly, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It was really cool catching up, and thank you for doing the show.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. I had such a good time.
Don't hang up. We're just going to do the exit, right?
Yeah, we're just going to do it. Stand the line. All right, let's go ahead and play this music. Damn, that was the wrong one. Sorry. You don't hear the music, but there's music playing, so just pretend to bump.
It comes in post-production.
Yeah.